During the first 3 weeks of 7th grade, I learned one thing above all else. A person can become invisible simply by staying quiet. We had made tie-dye shirts in art class to prepare for our field trip. I guess the idea was that we'd be easy to find if we got lost. It was exactly 1 month since the worst thing had happened, almost as long since I started not talking. It isn't refusing to talk like everyone says. It's just deciding to not fill the world with words. Better than small talk, if you ask me. If I made small talk, I wouldn't have to see the kind of doctor you can talk to, which I'm going to see this afternoon. But if someone isn't talking, maybe the kind of doctor you can talk to is the last person you should have to see. That's Sarah. She's very quiet, which I like, and she smiled at me the first day of school. But then Molly and Aubrey started talking to her, and now they always sit together. Miss Frisk with impossible hair. Shark! Dylan, oh my gosh! Of course the girls were giggling, the way they do sometimes around boys. And that made me think of Franny, 'cause she would have giggled too. Sometimes you want things to change so badly you can't even stand to be in the same room with the way things are. Even in my neon tie-dye and Miss Frisk's hair, nobody seemed to see me. No one noticed. Zoo, Franny Jackson drowned. Drowned. She said you had drowned. She was on a beach vacation in Maryland. But of course her words didn't make sense. They didn't because it hadn't been that long since I'd seen you, and you were as alive as anyone. They didn't because you were a great swimmer since the moment we met. And they didn't because the way things ended between us was not the way they were supposed to end. But if what my mom was saying was true, then the glimpse of you walking down the hallway with bags of wet clothes and crying was the last time I would ever see you. No, she didn't. She didn't. She could swim. She was a good swimmer, remember? Remember, Mom? Why couldn't she see how impossible this was? Zoo, even good swimmers drown. But it doesn't make sense. How could she? Not everything makes sense, Zoo. Sometimes things just happen. This probably doesn't even seem real. It doesn't to me either. I'm sorry. I'm just so sorry. No, none of it made sense. All this time I thought we had our story, but it turns out you had your own and I had mine. Everyone's story is different, all the time. Mrs. Turner says that when something happens for no reason, it means you have bumped up against the edge of human knowledge, and that's when you need science, to have an explanation. Things just happen isn't an explanation, but that's all I had for weeks, until I stood in the basement looking at jellyfish. Such strange creatures. They looked like aliens, graceful and silent ones, like alien ballerinas who dance without needing any music. Irukandji jellyfish. An irukandji sting results in excruciating headache and body pain, vomiting, sweating, anxiety, dangerously fast heartbeat, brain hemorrhage, and fluid in the lungs. When stung, patients report a feeling of impending doom. Some patients are so certain that death is imminent, they beg physicians to kill them so they can get it over with. Indeed, there are a number of documented deaths from Irukandji syndrome, and it is unknown if Irukandji stings have been the true cause of death mistakenly attributed to other causes. Scientists are trying to learn more about the venom and about whether the true impact of the Irukandji sting is much greater than previously understood. While the Irukandji live in large numbers off the coast of Australia, Irukandji-like symptoms have been experienced as far north as the British Isles, and in Hawaii, Florida, and Japan. As a result, many researchers believe that the Irukandji has migrated far beyond its native Australia. As the ocean warms, it is likely that the Irukandji, like other jellies, will continue to migrate over greater distances. Well, that sounds completely awful. But they hadn't even bothered to visit the jellies exhibit. They knew nothing about the Irukandji. They would never even wonder. Nobody would ever wonder. Nobody but me. The first time I see you, we are at the big pool indoors. I'm 5 years old and starting kindergarten soon. We're supposed to hold on a foam board to swim, but you don't. So I stay sitting down with you. Sorry, girls, but it's time to join the class. I follow you. Not because the lady tells me, but because I want to swim like you. And because at this moment, making a friend and having one seems like the easiest thing in the world. It's after school, and I had spent most of the bus ride home thinking about jellyfish. There are 150 jellyfish stings every year. I had made some calculations in the back of my science journal. 150 million stings a year is 411,000 every day, 17,000 stings every hour, so 4 to 5 stings every second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 23 people had just been stung. Well, hey there, Susie Q. Beautiful day, huh? If I were the person who still talked, I might have told him to count to 5, and I would have told him about the 23 stings. Erin and I stopped by to see if we could convince you and your mom to go to the movies, but she says you have a doctor's appointment or something. The doctor I can talk to. Ugh. Well, look who's here. My brother, tanned and athletic, sometimes too good to be true. Hey, school okay? Susie, middle school sucks. You know that, right? No, really, Susie. When I was in 7th grade, all I wanted was to get the heck out of there. And I hadn't even lost my best friend. I'm just saying, it won't always be this way. See you next time, Susie. Seeing them, all that happiness made me feel all mixed up inside. I could remember happiness, but at the same time, I couldn't. But I didn't deserve happiness, and I would never again. Maybe Mom was wrong. Maybe things aren't actually as random as everyone seemed ready to accept. Things had ended between me and Franny in the worst way possible. If I'd known, I'd have said sorry for the way things happened. But a person doesn't always know the difference between a new beginning and a forever sort of ending. Now it's too late to fix any of it. But maybe. Zoo, we have to go. Hypothesis. The worst thing was caused by a sting from a neuroconji jellyfish. I could tell you a lot about jellyfish. They are older than dinosaurs, than insects, older than trees, flowers, ferns, or seeds. They are at least 600 million years old, probably older than any type of living thing you've ever seen or imagined inside your brain. There have been 5 mass extinctions since jellyfish showed up. Example, the Great Dying, which killed off 9 out of 10 species on Earth. But all those extinctions, they didn't do a thing to jellyfish. So the main thing to know is that jellyfish have always been there. They are survivors of everything that ever happened. We planned a sleepover at my house, but after dinner you changed your mind and started to cry. So now we're at your house. My parents have a word for what I do. Constant talking. They tell me that it's important to let others talk too. But you like it when I tell you things. You have never once called what I do constant talking. And you know what? I don't care that we're not in my house like planned. I don't care that you sometimes cry because you miss your daddy who you don't even remember. Or that at school a girl named Aubrey said loudly for everyone to hear, Franny Jackson isn't pretty or smart. And the way you started crying. But I told you the playground was actually Egypt, and we started laughing and running. So I don't care about those other girls, or how our teacher told me I should make other friends too, to help with my social skills. But the teacher doesn't understand that we have everything we need. The grass under our feet, Fluffernutters wagging stump, and the spinning and laughter, and the sky growing dark above our heads. Zoo, please don't make us any more late than we already are. You think I'm cray-cray, that's why we're here. I know you're sad, Stu, but I'm also sure you're going to be okay. But your dad and I, we want to make sure we're doing everything we can to help you. Other than giving you time, this is the only thing we could think of. Hey kiddo, how are you? Great, Dad, I'm doing great. Oh, Susie. Dr. Lex. Your parents called me Suzanne because they're worried about you. They tell me you're pretty quiet these days. Is that right? Why in the world would she think I would answer the question? And why was she asking a question she already had the answer to? And they say you stopped talking soon after the loss of your friend. Is that right? Not my friend. Not when it happened anyway. Meg, how does Suzanne's refusal to talk affect you? Susie just seems so unhappy. Tell me, Jim, how often do you see Suzanne? Every week, every Saturday night. And do you stick to that routine? Always. It was true. Every Saturday, Dad and I went to Ming Place, a Chinese restaurant. It was a promise Dad had made when he moved out. He would be there every Saturday at 6 p.m. And do you think Suzanne is unhappy? What do you think? I'm sorry, but of course she's unhappy. That's why we're here. Maybe I could deal with the silence better if we still lived together, but I'm never here for her and she doesn't even talk to me. Suzanne, I'm gonna ask you to try to trust me. You can say anything here, I won't judge. Honestly, I had stopped listening. All I wanted to do was get back to a computer and start looking up everything I could about jellyfish. I didn't have any time to waste. And that's why we need professionals. I mean, a 12-year-old can't be expected to solve every problem herself, can't she? She was right. I needed a professional for my hypothesis. There have to be experts out there, jellyologists. I was going to find one to help me prove Franny had been stung by a jellyfish. Ming Palace was the place my non-talking began, a few days after Franny's funeral. So what did you think of your first couple days of school? One of the things I knew was that grown-ups are like everyone else. They don't actually want you to say what you're thinking. Once my dad asked me what I was thinking, I told him about the Great Pacific Garbage Vortex, a stew of plastic trash in the ocean, and how many people think it's 2 times bigger the size of Texas. The plastic gets cut into tiny pieces by getting rocked by waves, and birds can confuse the plastic with food, feeding it to their chicks, and they die of starvation while not knowing why. My dad had sighed when I told him that. I guess he wanted me to tell him about gym class instead. My dad wanted small talk, but I don't understand how that's more polite than not talking. It's practically the same thing, and I bet small talk has ended more friendships than silence ever did. Anyone you especially like? Teachers, new kids? Mostly the people I have always known. Rex, Dylan Parker, and Missy Justin Maloney. The new girl, Sarah Johnson, seemed okay, and I liked Mrs. Turdon, our science teacher. The first day she had told us that there are 60,000 miles of blood vessels in a single human body, enough to circle Earth 2.5 times, and that ants sleep for just 8 minutes a day, while snails can't sleep for 3 years. Also, that each of us had at least 20 billion atoms from William Shakespeare inside our body. I also like that we are going to write research papers about any topic relating to science. She had said science is learning what others have discovered, and then having a question no one has answered before and finding the answer you need. I could have told my dad this, but I didn't. What, are you speaking to me tonight? But what if I never made small talk again? Okay, Susie, you just let me know when you're ready to make a conversation. But I had already decided I wasn't going to make a conversation. Not that night, and maybe not ever again. That afternoon, after Dr. Legs, I had found a bunch of jellyfish experts. First, a guy in Rhode Island who studies how jellyfish move underwater. Then, a grandmotherly lady who studies jellyfish populations near Seattle. And the guy in Washington, D.C., who studies how they evolved. And then I found someone I thought might be interesting. Lindsay in Japan. Glasses and brown hair, works at a lab where scientists send remote control vehicles into the deep sea. He discovered a never before seen jellyfish in the darkest part of the ocean. It had a red part inside the bell that could crumple or expand, just like a floating paper lantern, named the paper lantern jellyfish. I like how literal that is. Advantages: his face looks nice, soft eyes, not mean. He discovers new things, which means he knows there is more in the world than what has already been discovered. Disadvantages: very far away. Does not seem to write about irukandji or any sort of venom. Might ask me to read his poetry. And conclusion: rejected for reasons related to poetry. On the day after the aquarium visit, we walked into Mrs. Turton's classroom. First of all, if you have not picked a topic for your science report, please talk to me after class. It's time to begin your research. But before we begin, Christmas 1968. No internet, email, texting, or cell phones, but there are spaceships. Apollo 8 is leaving the planet. Then on Christmas Eve, astronauts send this image to us. Whoa! Now here's a different view. That's right, that is Earth. This photo taken more recently is about 3 billion miles away. That is your whole life. A speck Carl Sagan once called a mote of dust suspended in a sunbeam. And here I was, just one of the 7 billion people out of 10 million species, and I was just a tiny fraction of all species that have ever existed, and somehow all of us fit into the fleck of brown dust on the screen. And now to our lesson. Today, my darling 7th graders, you will work in the laboratory where scientists push the boundaries of knowledge. You'll be studying pond water from our own valley. First task is to pick your lab partner. Groups of 2, please. Hey, Susie, I guess we're partners? Well, I'll guess I'll get the pond water. Listen, Susie, I know I'm probably not your pick for a lab partner. Probably, but I won't mess it up for you, okay? I'll work hard, I promise. Suzanne, do you have a report topic? You do? That's great! What is it? Even when you're a non-talker, there are times in life you have to talk. This is one of those moments. It's jellyfish. I'm sorry? Jellyfish. That's a terrific topic. There are so many things you learn about one species. You let me know if you need any help finding any information. Suzanne, you do know the report is an oral presentation, right? Meaning you'll have to do public speaking to pass. If I wanted to pass 7th grade, I was going to have to speak out loud. Remember Hernando de Soto. The first European explorer to the southern U.S. is Hernando de Soto. And Captain James Hook, who sailed to Australia, is a cook that caters to koalas and kangaroos. You look like Aubrey. Yesterday, Aubrey announced that she was the most popular girl in 4th grade, which might be true but shouldn't be. When it comes to popularity, looks matter more than whether anyone actually likes you. I am the most popular girl in the world. Ugh, shoot me if I ever become like that. I never shoot you. Well, do something, okay? But you never be like Aubrey. Yeah, but just in case. Send me a signal, like a secret message. Something that really gets my attention. I'm not entirely sure what you mean by I like the idea of a secret message. Sure, it's a deal. Introducing the great Miss Frizz. Miss Frizz? Yeah, because of your hair. And let's welcome Strawberry Girl, ladies and gentlemen. Strawberry Girl? Yeah, because of your strawberry blonde hair. Ooh, I love it. I never had guessed how many people spent their lives thinking about jellyfish. There were NASA engineers, performers, and researchers studying jellyfish ecology, evolution. What's that? Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to be nosy. They looked like FBI notes or something. Are you an undercover agent? Agent Swanson reporting for duty. What was I even supposed to respond to that? Angel's picture reminded me of Franny, and I almost picked her until I saw a video of her injecting a mouse with venom from a jellyfish and didn't seem to care it was in pain. Turns out she didn't remind me of Franny at all. And then I saw Jamie, and I knew. Jamie was the one. There are so many things I want to tell you. Like my mom and dad are getting a divorce, so now I'm going to be one of those kids with divorced parents. Or how Aaron is leaving to have fun adventures at college. I want to tell you, but the words haven't been able to come out. Who do you like? As in boys. No one. Which is true. But you have to like someone. We're going to be in middle school soon. Well, who do you like? Dylan Parker. I just think he's cute. Dylan Parker? Tell me you're kidding. This isn't the sort of thing I have to be kind about. No one should be kind about Dylan Parker because Dylan himself isn't kind. And that's when I know everything is about to change. It's about to get knotted up in the worst way possible. Jamie. Dr. Jamie Seymour, professor of biology in a lab at James Cook University in Queensland, Australia. In a video, Jamie had been stung by an actual irukandji, filming for a TV show when it happened. In the hospital, he had said he thought he was going to die. Unlike Angel Yanagihara, who stung a mouse, he was the mouse. But after recovering, he went back into the water. I liked him for forgiving. He was going to prove my hypothesis right and write a near and better ending to the story of my friendship with Franny. The next thing I want to tell you about jellyfish is that they are taking over. Not many people know this, and it's our own fault. People don't pay attention to that stuff, only to cat videos and who stole whose boyfriend. Meanwhile, jellyfish blooms. There are more jellyfish than ever. We take too much fish out of the ocean to fill our supermarkets, and when we do this, jellyfish blooms grow bigger and they have less competition for their food. The seas are warming with chemicals and barely any oxygen, bad for everyone except jellyfish. It doesn't even affect them. Nobody knows this, and nobody thinks about it or talks about it. While they're out there this second, moving silently and endlessly through the darkness of the sea. Everything changes. It starts changing almost instantly after you tell me you like Dylan Parker. The first thing is that you start tying your clothing. You might wear a shorter dress, which isn't a problem, but you'll keep thinking about it all day. But there are so many important things to talk about. Months have passed and I still haven't told you about my parents. I want to, but you're always looking at the mirror. Any mirror. I hate my hair. You know, I thought with the right products we could actually make your hair look cute. Cute. You always use that word now. Anyway, you don't seem to care about things I know. Not anymore. Now you only care about your hair and dress and whatever you see in the mirror. That's when I remember. Shoot me if I ever become like that. Send me a signal. Or a secret message. Make it big. But I don't know what the signal is or what to say. Please don't be another thing that changes. So I don't say anything. At dinner, Aaron brings Rocco, and I tell him about you. Oh, that's just a phase girls go through. Maybe, but kiddo, I gotta warn you, you're in for some tough years. Middle school, you couldn't pay me to go back. Calling is better than writing an awkward letter. James Cook Santa for Biodiversity, can I help you? Just ask for Jamie. What is this regarding? Hello? Is anyone there? I want Jamie's help to help me prove things happen for a reason. Finding the right words has never been a strength of mine. By the time we are in 6th grade, everything is different. We have cold metal lockers now, kids cast sideways glances at each other, and Aubrey has been hanging out with other pretty girls like Molly, Anna, and Jenna. Each day I sit at a regular table, but I start waiting longer when you start talking to other people I don't know, until one day you sit somewhere else with Aubrey. What are you doing? Come on, they're nice. Oh my gosh, hey. In hip hop class, I wrap myself in plastic to sweat more. Why would you want to sweat more? It makes your pants fit better. Well, actually, humans have the most sweat glands on the bottom of their feet. Ugh. And did you know that sweat is sterile when it comes out of your body? It's kind of like pee. Everybody thinks pee is so gross, but it's actually totally clean. That was my gosh. Want this? It's strawberry flavored. Strawberry for strawberry girl. Huh? Nothing. Just something stupid we did when we were really little. Some people don't know when to grow up. Yeah, she's like so lame. Oh my god. Why do you have to be so weird, Susie? Ugh, you're just so weird. And I'm amazed. Those girls are following you. You are the girl who was once afraid to read out loud in class. The one afraid to spend the night without your mom. And now, these girls are following you. None even turns around to glance back at me. Would you prefer silence or speaking today? It's always the same answer, so I keep quiet, which made me think of a composer who wrote a piece with no notes. It's silence. At first, people were shocked, but now they hear all the noise around themselves. It's called 433, 4 minutes and 33 seconds. If people were silent, people could read one another's signals. Humans are really bad at this. I knew this by now. I wonder what signals Dr. Lex was sending me.
Okay, time's up. I sure hope my parents weren't paying a whole lot of money for these sessions. Suzanne, I wonder if you ever give much thought to why people speak to one another. I think it developed from our need to be understood. Those words made me think of all the wrong things I had done to make Franny understand. Everything leading up to her crying and carrying those awful bags. I pushed the memory away and started thinking about my failed phone call with Jamie. It's a basic human need. Won't you like to be understood? Yeah, I need Jamie's help. Whatever you want to say, come right out and say it. But please don't do it through text or email. For something important, you have to do it face to face. Well, the person I have to talk to is on the other side of the world. That way they'll understand better. I see you smiling, so that helps you, I hope. I think we made major headway today. Meeting Jamie would be impossible. It would mean flying to a different continent, which would be insane. Cray cray. It couldn't in a million years happen. But what if it could? After that day I talked about Pete, I sit alone and you never talk to me after that. You say you're always busy, so I decide to go over to your table. I see myself as you just did, as someone who is out of place in this world.
Late spring, we are at the 6th grade campout at Rock Lane. Stop! But I see you're looking at Dylan and he noticed you. He puts a porcupine close to you and you squeal, liking what he did. No, he's going to kill something for no reason and no one is stopping him. But you can stop this. Franny, please don't let him do this. Please, I have seen you cry when people are so cruel. This is not you. I know you better than any of these people. I was supposed to stop this. Later, I feel something warm and wet on my cheek. Spit. Someone just spit on me. So I understand now. You're not my best friend. Not anymore.
The Rock Lake campout was days ago, but I cannot get that frog out of my head. The frog had been helpless. It had made a decision to not care. Send me a signal. Make it big, you had said. I tried. It's almost the last day of school. If I'm going to send you a message, I'm running out of time. Susie, are you ready? It was the day of my science report. Could I even speak out loud? Jamie had been able to survive one of the most poisonous stings. If he could do that, I could do this. Imagine an animal. Imagine a creature whose mouth and butt were the same. A creature so unlike other animals, it was believed it was a plant at first. So I told them about jellyfish life cycles, that they start off almost like a plant, and different types of jellyfish, and how they go from planula to a medusa. And after I told them the basic things like where they live, I began telling them the bad things. That they are taking over the seas, that they are driving whales to extinction, and that they are now all over the world in places like Maryland. Susie, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'm afraid you're going to have to wrap up soon. I'm not finished. I love that you have a lot to say, but we have another presentation and we're running out of time. I'm not finished. Susie, you can finish what you have to say, but please wrap up quickly. So, I told them about the irukandji and how deadly it is, about the number of deaths, migration over great distances, and the brain hemorrhage. And that is why we need to learn all that we can about these fierce medusas of the sea. She's cray. Crazy. Cray. Susie, that was incredibly thorough. I can see that a tremendous amount of hard work went into your presentation. But Patrick, you'll have to go tomorrow. Yes! But they hadn't understood. Medusa. That's enough. Go ahead and sit down, Susie. I wish I could meet you, Jamie. I wish I could meet you, and you could tell me you understand. Because nobody else understands. I tried, but they didn't see what I saw. I know you would understand, because I have seen your picture. I found so many pictures of you online. In one, you're holding a jar, and inside that jar is an irukandji, ghostly and transparent. Your eyes are soft as you look at it. In another, you are staring through a tank at a box jellyfish. The jellyfish is in the top of the tank, and you're beneath it looking up. There are flecks in the water that look like stars in the night sky. And because your image is hazy through the glass, and you're on the other side of the water, you're the one who looks like a ghost. And here's the thing that I find so interesting. There's never any anger in your eyes. There's never any disgust. You don't even look at these creatures like they're all that different from you. You look curious. That's all. Like you're trying to figure them out. Like maybe these creatures have something to tell us, and you care enough to hear it. What is it about you? How is it that you care so much about the creatures that everyone else hates? I mean, I saw you in the hospital bed, almost dead from a sting. Why aren't you the least bit angry after that? What is it about you that makes you able to love creatures that no one else can? Urine is more than 95% water, just like jellyfish. But that doesn't matter now. All that does is that it's almost the end of 6th grade. Freezing urine is easy. Send me a signal. Make it big. And for a while, I didn't know what to do. But now I do. I'm going to send my message the same way you did, with body fluids. Peeing into containers is easy though, and it's all very clean. We just make it seem gross. Tomorrow is the last day of 6th grade. My stomach hurts, but I've never felt so sure about something. I asked my mom to drive me to school early, and she still trusts me even if I don't deserve it. I feel the weight of the bag I'm carrying, my message for you, and I head towards your locker. Susie, hang back for a minute. Susie, that was a really good report. I can see how hard you worked. I rarely give A's, but I'm giving you one. You deserve it. Justin's sketches are pretty sloppy, but accurate. You know, Susie, I eat my lunch here. You're welcome to join me. I'm always here if you want to talk. But the one I want to sit down with is Jamie. With Jamie, I would know what to say. Be proud of yourself, Susie. You did a terrific job today. But how can you work so hard on a report, earn an A, but still walk away feeling like you did something wrong? Like you, yourself, are terribly wrong. You shouldn't have laughed at me. You shouldn't have called me weird. You shouldn't have spat at me. This isn't about revenge. It's me doing what you asked me to do. It's me trying to make you listen. To finally, really listen. I did something big because it was time. It was time to bring you back. To bring us back. And we'll be able to start again. The thing you and I understand, Jamie, is that having venom doesn't make a creature bad. Venom is protection. The more fragile the animal, the more it needs to protect itself. So the more venom a creature has, the more we should be able to forgive that animal. They're the ones that need it most. And really, what is more fragile than a jellyfish, which doesn't even have any bones? I think you understand this. I just wanted you to know that I do too. I wish we could sit down and talk about these things. About stings and venoms and beginnings and endings, and all the creatures that no one else seems to understand. Oh
Ew,
man,
gross.
ew, that's disgusting.
Yuck. Ugh.
Oh man, somebody took a leak in her locker. I'll go tell the main office. Crying. Franny is crying. But now you need to look at me, so the message works. Look at me. Look at me. You didn't look. And it's not a new beginning to you. It's something else entirely. It's an ending. Oh, Susie, come on in. How are you doing? Susie, you're a terrific student, but I'm concerned about you. It sounds like there have been changes in your behavior this year. Changes, normal, but I wanted to make sure you're okay. I'd like to show you something, Susie. Mrs. Turon? Oh, hey, Belle. Ah, Mr. Maloney. What you watching, Belle? Shh. Whoa, I wish the world looked like that all the time. Thanks for letting me watch, Belle. That was cool. Belle? That's their biggest part, right? A belle? I wasn't a fan of the nickname Medusa. Of course, jellyfish. A belle is the heart of a jellyfish, the only part you can't get stung. For a kid who had recently gotten detention for throwing dictionaries out the window, he was maybe not as bad as I thought. I don't want to talk about what happened at church. 67 days after the end of 6th grade, 4 days before the start of 7th grade. Who are all these people? Funerals are different when it's a child. I recognized some people, like Mrs. Turn, who hadn't even had you in class yet, and never will. I saw your next door neighbor who had sometimes let us use her pool. My dad was also here. Standing next to Aaron and Rocco, and closer to me was Aubrey and Molly. They were crying. Sometimes at a funeral, a person feels hatred. I hated those girls, that they were crying. I hated that they felt close enough to you to cry. I hate you. I hate all of you for not doing anything or trying to fix this situation. Everyone had just given up, but I was sure that I wasn't going to accept the thing that had happened. One summer, a couple of years ago, 3 children stepped on a plane in Jacksonville, Florida, to Nashville, Tennessee, with no adults. Bridget Brown, a 15-year-old, had saved up $700 and asked her brother Cody, who was 11, and their 13-year-old neighbor to go. So they went to Dollywood, a big theme park. But if the kids had done their research, they would have known to fly to Knoxville instead of Nashville, since it's closer to Dollywood. When they got there, they didn't have enough money to get to the park, so they called their parents and flew home. The problem with Bridget Brown was that she hadn't planned, but what she did was perfectly legal. Kids over 12 are allowed to fly alone, which means you can go anywhere with the right planning. You can just step onto the plane and disappear. You're going to need me to do the slicing and dicing, aren't you? Don't worry, Belle, I've got this one. Seeing the worm like this reminded me of the frog Dylan had picked up last year. You know what? I think we should give this guy a name. Mo, Evil Peter the Soil Eater, Bob, Sore. Oh, mighty Sore, you may be small in size, but your legless life is a great gift to our understanding of the scientific method, and also our ability to pass 7th grade. Hey, speaking of names, isn't Belle the real name of Snow White? Beauty. Well, she does talk. I can talk when there's something to say, and it was Beauty. Oh, so does that make me the Beast? He was a bad guy, right? He was okay, just scared people who didn't know him. Well, thank you, Mighty Sore, for showing us your seminal receptacles. You may rest in peace now. I had almost everything for Australia now. An envelope with money, phone numbers for 2 different taxi services, and a reservation to a cheap motel. I even knew how to get to Jamie's place. The only thing I couldn't imagine doing was leaving home. I have a question. How does a person say goodbye? Oh, Suzanne, are you ready to say goodbye? It's been what, around 6 months? 6 months since what? What was she even talking about? Saying goodbye is important. It lets us begin to live again. There's no single right way to say goodbye to someone you love. The most important thing is to keep a part of them inside you. It's a gift to spend time with the people you care about, even when the person leaves us. But I'm the one leaving. Does that make sense, Suzanne? Sure, yeah, I guess. I'm so proud of you, Suzanne. You've really come so far. But I haven't been anywhere. But that was about to change. Hey, Belle, you coming to the dance on Friday? I'll be out of town. Too bad. I've got a great costume planned. Are you a villain or a hero? Sorry, but you gotta go to the dance to know. I didn't want to go home right away, but I had to. You remember that I got a showing this morning, right, Sue? You have everything you need for the day? I did, but it wasn't exactly the day she thought I had planned. It was my last morning at home, and instead of school, I'd head to the campus to go to the airport. Oh, I hate showing houses in the winter. Everything always looks so bleak, but maybe summer's not that far away. Okay, Sue, what is up with you today? Please just go. I can't say goodbye. For heaven's sake, Sue, you're being rude. Just go, Mom. I don't want you here. I don't want to be late, but honey. What is wrong with you? Why can't you just go away? I hope your day gets better, Zoo. I love you. It was only when her car pulled away that I understood I still had one more goodbye. Franny's mom. Hello? How is Fluffernutter? She's good, Susie. You can come over and play with her sometime if you want. Okay, well, there's a school dance tomorrow night. The theme is heroes and villains. Are you going as a hero or villain? Oh, I won't be there. I'll be out of town. This is my chance to explain everything. You know, she always admired you so much, Susie. She said you never cared what anyone else thought. I think she wished she had a little bit more of that in her. But that wasn't true. I had cared what people thought, what Franny thought. I have to go. Thank you for calling me, Susie. Give Fluffernutter a kiss for me. I will. You take care of yourself. And off to Australia I went. Here's the last thing you need to know about jellyfish. They're immortal. I mean it literally. Don't believe me? Look up Turritopsis dohrnii, the immortal jellyfish. When it's threatened, it can return from the adult Medusa stage to the youngest stage. It can grow old, then old, young, and never really die. Imagine if we could do that. Just say, oof, too hard, and go back to being kids. And we could just stay there. Then none of it would have happened like it did. I never have to try to fix all those things that went wrong. I would have never sent you that message. Everything would be okay. Easy. Just like it used to be. You would still be here. And Franny, you would love me again. Just like you used to. The trick to anything is just believing you can do it. Confidence. It can carry you through anything, even through a long walk through campus with your suitcase and being next to loads of strangers. Goodbye, South Grove, Massachusetts. Australia was so close. I could almost feel it. Name, Susie Swanson, passport. Wait, what's your date of birth? Looks like you haven't applied for visa. Visa? I hadn't thought of that. There was only one thing I could do. What is this? It's a visa. Do whatever you can to get on that plane. This is just oh, I see. Sweetie, where are your parents? They're unable to make the trip. They both work. Honey, you know you can't fly out of the country by yourself. But passengers 12 and over may travel with no adult supervision as long as they have a valid boarding pass. Not international travel. I'm sorry. The thing is, not doing this, not making this trip, wasn't an option. Not anymore. Oh, come with me. The light hurt, and I was tired, and I had failed. Zoo, oh honey, oh my sweet, sweet Zoo. So what's going on, Zoo? I thought I could prove it, what really happened. But of course they didn't know what I was talking about. They didn't understand how this impossible could become the only possible thing. I always figured it was a riptide. I don't know why she drowned Zoo, but that's what I always assumed. It could have been anything though. I stole. A lot of this is yours and it's Dad's credit card. I'm sorry. There are worse misdeeds than those that are done for a higher purpose. They are still out there, those jellyfish. Back in 1968, people saw Earth rising over the moon and believed they mattered. They believed they could accomplish anything. What if we could feel that way again? There are so many things to be scared of in this world, but maybe we can stop being so afraid. Instead of feeling like a mope of dust, we can remember that we're made of stardust. We're the only ones who know that. That's the thing about jellyfish. They'll never understand that. All they can do is drift along, unaware. Humans may be newcomers to this planet. We may be plenty fragile, but we're also the ones who can decide to change. Hon, you okay? What had I been thinking coming to this dance? I think I want to go home. Sue, at least give the dance 5 minutes. At least walk through the door. If you really want to leave, call me. Honey, just yesterday you were ready to fly to another continent. You're brave, Zoo. I know you can do this. Belle, you coming or what? Only 5 minutes. Oh, and what are you? A regular guy. Can a regular guy be a hero? Doesn't happen often, but it can. Hey, Susie, have you been inside yet? Maybe we could go together. I don't know that many people. But you have so many friends. Not really. I know kids, but they aren't my friends. Mrs. Turon is there. I think she's dancing with Justin. You want to go over? Yeah, let's go.